people, welcome to a new lesson. Today we're going to talk about conditional rendering in React. So when you're building applications, you either want to show or hide some HTML based on some booleans. For that we're going to use conditional rendering. Conditional rendering works the same way in React as in JavaScript. So we'll take a look at 6 ways of using conditional rendering. So we have the if-else, the ternary conditional operator, element variables, short circuit operator, immediately invoked function inside JSX, and switch statements. So let's get started. Let's create a component, container component, let's say dashboard. Let's get rid of the life cycles, we don't need them for now. Dashboard, remove the prop types. And now we can use the dashboard in app. Dashboard, auto import. And now we'll see the dashboard component. So, as we can see here, when we create the component with this extension, with the VS Code React component generator, it automatically generates an if statement. If the state has error, it will return this, something went wrong. If not, it will return the div with the dashboard. So if it's the most basic conditional rendering method, I'm using it to opt out early from a rendering, usually as a guard pattern. So let's put a boolean here inside the state, is logged to true, and let's destructure it inside the render method. Is logged equals to this dot state. Now we use is logged here. So if this is true, it will return something like logged in. But if you don't want to render anything, it will return null. Now for the if else, let's say if it's logged, let's remove this. If it's logged, we will return logged in. Else, if is logged is false, we will return not logged in. Now, if we want to use, for example, if else inside JSX, we can't, because JSX it's a syntactic sugar for function calls and object construction. But we can use immediately invoked function inside JSX. So how do we do that? Let's say we return a div here, and this immediately invoked function, it's a technique that it can help us to write conditional logic directly within JSX, but wrapped within an anonymous function that is immediately invoked on evaluation inside that portion of the code. So let's make an anonymous function here and call it. Now we can use if and else here. If is logged, it will return is logged. If is logged is false, we will return not logged. Is logged, and if you change it to false, it will say not logged. Now we can use switch case method also here. So for example, switch on logged is logged. If case it's true, we return logged. If case is false, we return not logged. And on default, we return null. So this is false, it will return not logged, and if it's true, it will return logged. We can do this with a function also. So for example, let's say switch case and move it here. this dot state dot is logged, and we can call the function here this dot switch case. So now it should work. If you change it to false, we'll say not logged. The third method, even more simpler, is ternary conditional operator. So the benefit of this approach is that it can be used inside JSX. The ternary operation makes the conditional rendering in React not only more concise, but gives you an easy way to inline the conditional rendering in your return. So this is the way I use it. If it's logged, we will return logged. If not, we will return not logged. So it is false, it's returning not logged. If it's true, it's returning logged. So this is the easiest way. Now let's make some functions. For example, login handler equals to. Now let's set state on is logged to true, and let's make a logout handler that will set state is logged false. And now let's make a button. Make a button, and let's use here. For example, if we are logged, this button will show logout, right? If it's not logged, this button will show login. Now let's see. So we are logged, now it shows logout. Now let's make inside the event handler, so we can make ternary to set event handlers. So we can call, if we are logged in, we will call logout. If we are logged out, we'll call login. This is a way to do it. So on click, if you are logged in, we will use this logout handler. If we are logged out, we will use this. If we are logged in, we will use logout handler. If we are logged out, we'll use login handler. Now we either call them with arrow functions, so it will work. And that should work. Logout, logged, or we don't call them because we are not sending any parameters. We are just using set state. It will work. Now another way to do it is using JavaScript variables to store elements, and this will help you conditional render entire component or part of the component. So let's say, for example, let message, and now if is logged in is logged, message equals to logged in. If not, message equals to logged out. Now we can use this variable here, message, and now we are logged in, log out, login. Okay, another way of using conditional rendering in React is short circuit evaluation. So this is a technique used to ensure that there are no side effects during the evaluation inside the expression. So for example, the logical operator AND help us specify that an action should be taken only on one condition, otherwise it will be ignored entirely. So this is useful for situations where you only need to take an action when a certain condition is true, otherwise do nothing. Okay, so for example, let's say here if is logged, and now we will return logged. So this will evaluate to true, and after that it will evaluate the JSX. So if it's true, it will show logged. If this is false, it will not evaluate this h1 anymore, so it will it won't return anything. But now we need to use it twice. So for now, in this example, we need to use, for example, it's not logged and not logged. So it's better to use ternary, for example. Use this only if you need to return once on true and null on false. Okay, so that would be it. Use if to opt out early from a rendering. It cannot be used in JSX, but you can use it as with the immediately invoked function. If else, use it rarely because it's verbose. Instead, use ternary operator or logical operator. In my personal use, I use ternary operator. Logical operator use it when one side of the ternary operation would return null, and switch case usually avoid it because it's too verbose. So that would be it for this video. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and comment below, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.